Hi, fourth graders. I have had a couple requests for read aloud, and so I will keep doing my best to keep up with those or at least get them in as often as I can. Um, I'm kind of trying to treat today as a snow day, but also cleaning my house because Mr. Baumgartel, the new teacher, hopefully the new teacher for next year, him and his family are coming over tonight for supper. So I'll get a chapter read and then I'm going to make myself clean. Chapter 33, and when we left off, he had driven his car into a hole and then he took off running. He slowed to a walk. As far as he could tell, nobody was chasing him. He could hear voices coming from back by the truck but couldn't make out the words. Occasionally he'd hear the revving of the engine, but the truck wasn't going anywhere anytime soon. He headed in what he thought was the direction of Big Thumb. He couldn't see it through the haze. Walking helped calm him down and allowed him to think clearly. He doubted he could make it to Big Thumb, and with no water in his canteen, he didn't want to risk his life on the hope that he'd find refuge there. He'd have to return to camp. He knew that. But he was in no hurry. It would be better to return later after everyone had a chance to calm down, and as long as he'd come this far, he might as well look for Zero. He decided he would walk as long as he could until he was too weak to go any further, and he'd turn around and go back. He smiled as he realized that wouldn't quite work. He would only go halfway as far as he thought he could go, and then he'd still have the strength to return. Then he'd have to make a deal with the warden, tell her that where he found Kate Barlow's lipstick tube, and beg for mercy. He was surprised by how far out the holes extended. He couldn't even see the camp compound anywhere, but he still kept passing holes. Just when he thought he'd passed the last hole, he'd come across another cluster of them, a little further away. Back at the compound, he had dug in a systematic order, row upon row, allowing space for the water truck. But out there was no system. It was as if every once in a while, in a fit of frustration, the warden would just pick a spot at random and say, "What the heck, I'll dig here." It was like trying to guess the winning numbers in a lottery. Stanley found himself looking down into each hole he passed. He didn't admit to himself what he was looking for, and more than an hour had gone by he thought he had surely seen the last hole. But then off to the left he saw another cluster of them. He didn't actually see the holes. He saw the mounds of dirt that surrounded them. He stepped over the mounds and looked into the first hole. His heart stopped. Down at the bottom, pause, what do you think it might be? Was a family of yellow-spotted lizards. Their large red eyes looked up at him. He leapt back over the mound and ran. He didn't know if there were chasing after him. He thought he might even have seen one leap out of the hole. He ran until he couldn't run any farther, and then he collapsed. They hadn't come after him. He sat there a while and caught his breath. As he got back to his feet, he thought he noticed something on the ground, maybe 50 yards away. It didn't look like much, maybe just a big rock, but in a land of nothings, anything seemed unusual. He walked slowly toward it. The encounter with the lizards had made him very cautious. Think of a synonym for the word cautious. Careful, or that's all I got on a Friday. It turned out to be an empty sack of sunflower seeds. He wondered if it was the same one Magnet had stolen from Mr. Sir, although that didn't seem likely. He turned it inside out and found one seed stuck on the burlap. Lunch. And that ends chapter 33. And I will work at getting more of these posted. Please get outside, get some sunshine, put on your snow stuff, and just kind of, in my mind, just get yourself out of a screen. I appreciate all the work you've been doing and the things I've seen turned in, but it's also important to take care of your body and your mind. And my brain's been kind of on overload. So this weekend I'm going to try to do some normal things and play. So I will get more posted. I miss you guys. And obviously you can tell I posted from my house today, so that's a little different. Have a great weekend.